Hey there, my name's Mars, and welcome to the countdown to Halloween. Abbreviated one this year. Life is long still, as my good friends, the Curtain Society, remind me every single time I put on that brilliant CD, Life is long still. See what I did there? For the next 13 days, I am going to give you something awesome, maybe something shitty, maybe something incredible, maybe something you love, maybe something you never heard of. But for 13 days, I'm going to be giving you a different kind of media to consume, to enjoy. Because if you're like me, at this time of year, you like to let the season wash over you. The temperature, the climate, the aesthetic, and certainly the media. So, without further ado, let's get into day one, where I'm going to do something a little self-indulgent. I'm going to do something a little off the reservation. I'm going to do something... depending on who you're talking to, if it's Michael Ravenshadow on Monster Zero, they'll say I'm writing character. But if it's anyone with half a brain, or maybe they're the wrong ones, they'll tell you that it's out of character. Because I'm kind of going to talk about myself, but more specifically, for day one of the countdown to Halloween, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about the Deadites. But see you on the other side.
Listen to them, children of the night. What music they make.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town. Okay, you'll flip you. Do what? Flip you. Flip you for real.
Y'all think us folks from the country's real funny like, don't you, Jerry? That was from you, Ma. Mine is the Brit. I've got to give me some education, Jerry. You ass.
Ash. Death. A bitch. Stupid bitch.
What's up, y'all? This is Dynamo Mars. I am here on day one of the 31 days of Halloween. So you might want to know, why are you going to talk about your own band? Aren't you sick of hearing yourself prattle on about your own project? And the answer is no, quite frankly, because I don't feel like I'm talking about me, because I don't even think that I'm the third best part of this project. I don't even think I'm the 10th best part of this project. I think the people who sell our t-shirts are cooler than me. But it came to my attention in a situation where somebody recently said, I can't imagine Monster Zero playing music. And it's because he doesn't. And I know there's a lot of confusion, especially since Tiny's left, of who's in the Deadites and who's not in the Deadites. And a lot of people that listen to our amazingly produced podcast by the man that I'm with here today, Johnny Wolfenstein, they don't know too much about the Deadites. They only know about the podcast. And I love that podcast, don't get me wrong. Most days I want to kill at least one of my co-hosts, but I really adore that podcast. So before I dig into the band, let me just lay that down, groundwork. Every Wednesday night, live on trickortreatradio.com, you can listen to Trick or Treat Radio. And Trick or Treat Radio is hosted by the pencil-pushing king of all media for the Deadites, and one of the main components of our management, Johnny Wolfenstein. And Johnny Wolfenstein is joined weekly by the person who's supposed to be our PR guy, but we actually had to hire a PR guy for our PR guy, and that's Monster Zero. And then our assistant to our manager, I guess you can say he's the assistant manager, head of promotions, who does a shitty job at it, is Michael Ravenshadow. And then me, and occasionally Tiny White, and a few other reoccurring guests. We are making we're going to hope to get some other Deadites on more often, but the Deadites are a whole multimedia organization. They're not just that podcast, and they're not just a band. They're the promotional outlet, Dynamo, which is run by Myra K-Rock and I. They are the Grand Guignol Network. That is the whole, which I can't say, but is the whole podcast network run by Johnny Wolfenstein. And there are any number of things that are popping up over the next year. But what I'd like to specifically talk about is the members of the band/field team right now. To get everybody and know what they do, and a little bit of brand recognition. So without further ado, here are the Deadites. First up, let's talk about the new recruits. Someone who's been backstage for a long time, but is finally stepping forward and being part of the band. Is probably the band's biggest contradiction. I'm sorry. Miss Matrix said this person even makes animal cruelty seem adorable. And she is adorable. She is beautiful. She is hella foxy. She is a brilliant songwriter and an incredible guitar player and has a killer voice. But let's talk about the killer element, because what a lot of people do not know about Miss Myra K-Rock is that she's also a slasher. You've heard of Jason. You've heard of Michael Myers. And there's Myra. Myra has a huge body count of people that have wronged her, and there's if they stopped and made her go find all the bodies, it would take a very, very long time. She possesses all the abilities that you see a typical slasher. She's very adorable. She seems nigh impossible to kill. She's very adorable. Sorry, but she's adorable and adorable. And she's tough as all hell, and she can pretty much use anything as a weapon to maim, from a butcher knife to a baseball to a do you have guts, the dead barf bag. She could off you with it. So that is Myra. Next up on the new recruit front is new Deadites bass player Moraz. Something at one point happened to Moraz in the world of Terra, in the world of darkness, and he's made it his mission to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else ever again. In film standards, you would call him a final boy, which is kind of a subversion of the final girl concept, but his origin is similar to that of a Laurie Strode or a Ripley. Now, he is funky as all hell. He's a bit of a pimp in his own way, and he's an incredible human being. He's also maybe the best bass player in the whole entire multiverse. Even the Earth 3 Moraz that has 4 arms and 4 feet and they all play bass, not as good as this guy. He has the ability to play heavy. He has the ability to sit back in the mix. He has the ability to be funky. And if you go and read the Meet the Deadites photo album that just went up, the person who wrote that said he is a better friend than he is a bass player, and he's perhaps the best bass player ever. Next up, my buddy, our captain, El Capitan, the crazy masked man known as Tiny White. He is basically, in film terms, a Kurosawa film meet a Shaw Brothers film, meet a Golden Harvest film, meet a John Woo film. He is Asian action personified. Perhaps the most interesting thing that a lot of people do not know is that Tiny is a practitioner of the art of lucha libre and bushido. His mask and his sword are sacred to him. You almost never see him without him. He is one of the best dancers on the planet, and his programming and his synth collection are world-renowned. This guy has more synths than a Korg manufacturer in his house. He is, and he plays them all incredibly. He is also a well-renowned leaf rolling enthusiast. So that's Tiny White. His partner is me, Dynamo Mars, who is a fat old gunfighter out of shape. Imagine a spaghetti western hero on a bender, and you have Dynamo Mars. So fuck that guy. Next up is our lawyer / frontwoman, the marvelous Miss M, Donna Matrix. Basically, she's a femme fatale. In the in the form of a lot of the characters played by Pam Grier and Foxy Brown and Cleopatra Jones, and also a little bit of James Bond, and Black Widow is probably the most contemporary, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow contemporary version of her. She's deadly. Like a Black Widow, she is every bit as deadly as she is beautiful. Actually, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Black Widows are not very beautiful. But she is she's real deadly and she's real tough. Somebody said recently that she practices a martial arts that's not for self-defense. It's to make sure you never walk straight again. She's really, really tough, and the only thing she is better than tough is a singer. She is an incredible vocalist. She really slays. Going back to this Meet the Deadites photo album, she's prepared vocally to everyone from Natalie Merchant to Susie Sue. But for our money, no one sounds like the Divine Miss M. And it's totally true. There is no one that sounds exactly or even close to her. She has the moves of Madonna, the cocksure confidence of Johnny Rotten, and the presence of David Bowie. Matrix is a force of nature, and that's 100% true, kids. Next up, my buddy, Round Trip Jones. He plays some synth, some percussion, some theremin. From time to time, he might pull out some guitar. He's the man. Pro wrestling's other dead man. That dude's a hero through and through. Reading off this photo album here, one thing that I agree with so wholeheartedly, it could be because I wrote it though, his ability to connect with the crowd without saying a word is really something. Me and Miss Matrix and even Tiny can yammer on, but he gets the crowd's attention and he doesn't even say anything. On sabbatical right now is our beautiful Math Witch, probably the most powerful member of the Deadites, and other vocalists, Oracle. She is tough as all hell, and she literally bends reality to her will by using a complex series of formulas, mathematical formulas. She's also has a voice that would blow a submarine bulkhead off its hinges. Next up is somebody who, though he's been in the band for a long time and I consider him a brother, I still don't know a lot about, and that is Antichrist. Is he a maniac? Is he a spawn from hell? Who knows? But he's crazy. What I do know is that his ability to mimic anyone's voice has turned into a series of split personalities, and one of them is a famous radio personality and comedian who might be the funniest person on earth. So Antichrist. Next up is our mad scientist, and what I mean by mad scientist is this is the guy that helps us create a lot of our monster-killing weapons. And his ability to create these weapons are in direct contradiction to his really sweetheart ways. That's the Mountain Man 12 gauge Calhoun. He plays some eye percussion, perhaps some guitar, perhaps some other stuff. 12 gauge Calhoun, has been with the band for many, many years, but recently stepped to this side of the curtain, and I couldn't be happy to have him up on stage because he's a great guy and the type of guy you want in the corner. Last is the Screamstress, and she's a ghost, and she plays trombone and hand percussion, and she's scary, but she's very lovely. And actually, that's not last. Whoever made this forgot one of our studio Deadites, and that is the amazing empath Curvin. You might know Curvin from his vocals on the chorus of Too Ugly for Heaven, and you'll be hearing more of him from in some upcoming recordings. So he also plays guitar and synth and sings. So we have a full orchestra of destruction. So I know that you didn't learn a lot about the Deadites in general. So real quick, they were formed in 1992 from me and Tiny. And basically it's a multimedia empire that basically all nonprofits go into funding our hunt against monsters, our quest to end evil. So that's really pretty much all you ever needed to know about the Deadites, but we're afraid to ask. Thank you for indulging me on day one of my countdown for Halloween. Thank you to El Goro for letting me straight rip off his project. Tomorrow, on day 2 of the countdown to Halloween, we are going to be talking about a Netflix film that features some personalities and perhaps the craziest killer getup of all time as we talk about most likely to die. But until then, happy Halloween. I'll see you soon.